Boxing Bro UK, support this guy, RBG Kurdistan.
Hello everybody, this is Boxing Bros UK here. I am the Boss Chris. It's my co-host Andrew, the Boxing Brain. Topic of the day is the biggest fight this year in boxing. Tank Davis versus Jake Paul. I'm joking, it's horrendous. We wasn't going to do a video on this, but we're going to now because I'm hoping that this shit's on the decline because it's looking that way because did a bit of research and the press conference was a bit dead, not that much buzz for it, and he's a fucking midget. We're going to look at the face off now. I'm not interested in press conference because it's all a farce, it's all a show, but we're going to just look at the face off and we'll see.
Oh, wow.
What did you make of that?
Well, I wanted to come into this as fresh as possible. I've not looked at it a lot and then pre-analysed it just in the moment. It makes for better reactions. But the one thing, my first discernible thing that comes to me when I'm watching that, completely low energy, absolutely dead. Tank Davis looks like he don't want to be there. The body language of Tank Davis is weird. It almost looks as if he's like, oh, I know this is a bit of a clown show and a circus, but I'm being paid really well and I'm a bit embarrassed, you know, because whether you can scrutinise what he's done in his career, picking up vacant titles, agent fighters, people coming up in weight, you know, all of that, you can scrutinise his career. But he has had a successful career. He is a talent.
Freeway,
you know, yeah. I almost was reading that like he's completely sold out here.
I think.
Am I reading into it too much, or
it's like he's a crackhead and he knows he shouldn't be smoking the crack, but he just can't help it. He just can't.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, oh, I've done it. Oh, what am I doing? Like, oh,
I'm letting myself down. I know it's bad for me, but I just can't help it because the money is too good or the high.
Because the risk is very low and the reward is massive. Because if he fights even a rematch with Ryan Garcia or the rematch with Lamont Roach, which I think Lamont Roach really deserved, the money's a lot less and the risk is a lot higher, and he doesn't want it.
And then,
does he? Clearly, he doesn't want it.
The thing is, he's going to get slaughtered for this from Real Boxing Fan. If he wants to go back to real boxing, he's even going to get even more money because everyone's going to be like, he's finished, he can't do it. And so there's going to be buzz around his fight after this. Because everyone's going to be like, oh, you're finished, you did a clown fucking fight. And they're going to want to see him fight and see if he can fight in a real boxing match again. So either way, it's good for Tank. But for us boxing fans, it is not. Carl Frott's YouTube clip about Jake Paul.
I'm looking forward to this.
What do you make of Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis?
Netflix.
With the size difference.
I think it's ridiculous. Jake Paul's taking the piss, like he always does. Just from saying I'm going to fight AJ tonight, fighting Gervonta Davis. Who's 100 pounds in weight lighter. 100 pounds. Weight divisions in boxing are split up, some of them, the lower weights, by 3 or 4 pounds.
Yeah.
If you're stepping up from lightweight, you might be 3 or 4 pounds above bantamweight or something, and then you go up to light middleweight, and then it's or welterweight, and there's 5 pounds. There's nothing in the weight divisions, in the weight divisions between them. It's a weight governed sport for a reason. Jake Paul's got 100 pounds weight advantage over Gervonta Davis, who I think if he wanted to, Davis could beat him up easy anyway, and catch him and knock him out, but I don't know, I'll have to wait to see. But I just thought it was ridiculous. All I can say about Jake Paul fighting somebody half his size is he's a fucking bully. Why are you fighting a guy half his size? It's wrong. I know he can't fight. We know he's playing at the game, but he's gone from Krusty the Clown now to Sideshow. He's getting worse. You know what I mean? Like, this is a guy that's just taking a piss out of the sport, and I don't think this is actually gained much interest. The press conference was dead. I noticed there weren't many press there. It's not had a big media coverage. I think people are finally realising actually that this is a big charade, and I think I'm not impressed. Gervonta Davis, I think maybe he's had enough of the game. He got a draw in his last fight. He was lucky to get the draw as well.
So cashing out.
Potentially, I mean, it'd be big money for him.
He did say he wants to retire.
The Ryan Garcia win, and he's had some.
To be fair, Deontay Tank Davis, he said he was retiring before this fight, didn't he?
Yeah.
Last one, and I think he's thinking to himself, you know what, I've got plenty of bunts, and I can finish. Better get a minimum 10 mil, maybe more. Why not? Fair play to him. It's prize fighting. It's, you know what I mean. He's not doing it for fun. He's doing it for money. If you're going to get massive money fighting that clown, then why not? I'm not going to blame Gervonta Davis, but the whole thing again, it's a clown show. Jake Paul's a bully.
Do you know what? there is at the end of it there, Chris.
Yeah.
Do you know what? It's interesting because when I was travelling back from Hastings and I spoke to you on the phone, and I hadn't looked at this interview, and I was like, because I love Watch on Fire. I'm a big fan of Froch. I know he comes across a bit arrogant and a bit, but I think he's like you and me, Chris. I would like more people like him in the media. I'd love to meet him when we go to, because I think he's similar to us. He's obviously very knowledgeable, a former, a unified champion. He likes to remind everybody.
80,000 at Wembley.
Quite like us. He's quite salt of the earth. Gives his opinions. I think we're quite similar. I think so. His stuff resonates with me. But interestingly, I said to you, and I hadn't seen any of his stuff. I said, the cat's out the bag now. I can't remember exactly what I said. And he just said the same thing. And I think anybody, and I know you agree, but anybody that really loves boxing and combat sports and understands the jeopardy and the sacrifice you need to, I think we're all just like, we realise that now more than ever, he's just proper taking the piss.
I'm Jake Paul from Bizarre Vark, and you're watching Disney Channel.
He's been fighting old MMA fighters, all right. He's been learning his trade, learning his craft. Then he's kind of fighting, Tommy Fury, who's not a great boxer and lost. Then he's fighting Mike Tyson, who's 60. Now he's fighting 135 pounds, 5'2.5". I'm almost speechless, really.
I just can't believe it. It literally is a farce. If you look at it, since the Tommy Fury fight, he's fought Mike Tyson, a 60-year-old, not fought for 20 years. Then after that, he fought a guy who's been retired for 5 years, who's known for smoking crack in his spare time, in and out of rehab.
Chavez Jr. Oh, I forgot about that one. Oh, yeah.
And now he tells everyone he wants to fight Anthony Joshua. He squares off with him, but he says he wants to fight Alexander Usyk in a cage. And then what does he do? God. The actual fight, it's the rule of three. So, in boxing, like Eddie Hearn or Frank Warren give 3 names, out of them 3 names, it's the shittest one there. The weakest opponent is who they're going to fight. That's what Jake Paul's done. He's given us 3 names, and he's fought the midget, the weakest. My question to you, Andrew, is do you think Jake Paul is losing his touch? He's took the piss that much by taking people's money. He's losing his touch on fooling us with the illusion that he's a real boxer.
I think it's a really good question, actually, because this is the subject. This is most interesting thing at the moment with Jake Paul and where his career's going. I do think he's losing his touch, and I've got 2 theories on this. My first theory is, I wonder, after the Tommy Fury fight, I know he's changed his coaching team as well. He's been doing, I know he sacrifices a lot, right? I'll say this about Jake. He's sacrificed a lot. He's put his all into box. He's only been doing it 5 years. He ain't been doing it long. And his MVP promotions and his promotion of female boxing is brilliant, right? There's a positive. There you go. 4 people are always negative and cynical. There's the positives, right? Some good stuff in there. And the other positive, bringing more eyes to the sport, perhaps. That's the other positive. I wonder whether in sparring, him around, they know he's almost reaching his ceiling. I don't think he's going to get much better than what we've seen, right? Fundamentally, falling over his front foot, low lead hand again. I would have thought someone in their infancy in their career would be having just really bog standard, up and down, high guard, keeping it really simple and maybe adding a couple of little bits, leaving his chin in the air, fundamentally, going back and forward in straight lines, lateral movements not great. Well, all of that stuff that you've got to have that natural ability, and that's got to come through, boxing from a young age and doing things over and over again. So my theory is, I think he's reaching his ceiling. He realises he ain't going to be fighting Zerdo, Jaya Patel, any discernibly good cruiserweight or even light heavyweight. And I think this is what it's going to be, Chris. Clown shows. That's what I think. I don't know if you've got a different stance or...
I totally agree with you. He's not going to be able to he's never going to fight a real boxer again, like a Tommy Fury or anyone, because he'll lose. I do think you're right. It's an interest. I didn't think about it like that. Maybe his coaches are saying, listen, this is your level. I just thought he just knows his shit, and he's always known his shit, and he's playing these mind games to keep his name in the media, and then he'll always take an easy fight and be like, ha-ha, suckers, got you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then he'll put... Yeah. A really good female card on the undercard. That's a real boxing fight to get your real fans. Genius. I think he's still
Clever.
a genius, but I think people are wearing thin with him. So I agree with you. He's definitely losing his touch. And this formula that he's got where he calls out loads of fighters like Canelo, Anthony Joshua, Usyk, doesn't fight him and then fights a circus fight. It's wearing thin, and I don't think it's going to work anymore. Next question, last one on this. Is this fight good for boxing? So I'm going to start with a little story why I'm going to say absolutely not. So when we spoke about it off camera, I watched an interview with Peter Fury and Kugan Cassius, and he made a very, very good point. So Kugan Cassius said, I've got a casual, who said, Conor Benn, if he beats Eubank Jr. or if Eubank Jr. beats Conor Benn, will they fight AJ next? Typical casual. And Kugan's gone and laughed and said, they're middleweights. AJ's a heavyweight. Weight classes they can't fight. So then his casual mate has come back to him in a few days and gone, Mr. Boxing, Kugan, I thought you were working boxing. You told me there's weight classes for a reason, blah, blah, blah. How comes I'm seeing this guy who looks like a midget, who's even smaller than Conor Benn, fighting someone who looks as big as Anthony Joshua in Jake Paul, a cruiserweight? I thought you said that can't happen in boxing. So then he has to explain again that this isn't boxing. But to the casual, they're saying, you can say all that shit that you're telling me about weight classes and about I don't care. Two men are in a ring with gloves on hitting each other. One's a midget and one's big. How come? And you said that can't happen, and it's happening. What's with that shit? And it's an interesting point because that's what casuals will think. So this is bad for boxing. What are your thoughts and what's your answer to that?
I'm trying to think of a positive, and the only positive to it again is that look, and Tank's part of that what I always call TikTok generation of fighters, isn't he? Ryan Garcia and some of those types of fighters, that sort of generation of fighter where they use a lot of social media to raise their profile, self-promoting, calling out other fighters, creating beef, creating controversy. We're very much in that era of a lot of fighters, and the ones that don't like it, like Terence Crawford, Boots Ennis, Jai Opetaia, some of my favourite fighters, by the way. They can't stand any of that because I think they're gentlemen and they have integrity and they're not as famous as a result. So there we go. Shows the power of social media, doesn't it? Yeah. Talent, fame, we know doesn't correlate. So the only thing is that it brings over some of Tank's fans, who I would maybe argue aren't hardcore fans anyway. Is it bringing eyes to boxing that maybe don't necessarily watch boxing? The problem is, I think, just purely on an optics level, and I'm agreeing with you basically, but I'm just putting it my way. Just from an optics visual standpoint, you saw there in the presser, it's a circus. It's bully tactics. It really is, because, I mean, Carl Froch said, Tank Davis could probably do him if he wanted to, but I don't know, skill-wise, but £100, and say they've got 14, 16-ounce gloves. What damage is Tank Davis going to be able to do to a guy 100 pounds heavier? Really?
Yeah.
It's not good.
The punches are just going to bounce off him. Mayweather, the greatest fighter of our generation, one of, and he had an exhibition with Logan Paul. And let me tell you now, Mayweather was really trying, and Logan Paul was trying his hardest. Obviously, Logan Paul turned it into a hug fest and it was a shit fight. But size matters. It doesn't matter how fucking big you are. Even, I love Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee is my hero. I love him, yeah? But Bruce Lee and Stone Cold Steve Austin, Bruce Lee ain't beating Stone Cold Steve Austin. No way. He's just going to come over and donkey punch him on the head. Boom. And it's done. The fight's over. That, like, a man who weighs 8 stone and a man who weighs fucking nearly 20 stone, it doesn't work like that. Do you know what I mean? And I know it's not that exaggerated, but still, it's going to be a hug fest. Tank Davis is going to run around. Jake Paul's going to fucking hold him every time he comes in. It's going to be shit. It's going to be terrible. It's bad for boxing. Because people are going to...
It's reach as well, though, isn't it? Because also you have to look at it in terms of physics to not overly bore people with this. But if you're punching up, it's going to take a lot of the pop and the power out the shots anyway. Obviously, this is why it's not just a weight thing, although that's a massive thing. But you think the modern heavyweight is 6'4" and sometimes above now, but 6'3", 6'4" as a baseline. So if you're fighting a middleweight who's 12 stone, 13 stone, super mid, whatever, and 5'8", you're punching down on that guy. So you're already bigger, you're heavier, and you're punching down. That's just gravitational pull. That's just basic physics. You know, so you could have all the skills, slipping Jake Paul shots. and then you're punching up, you're not going to be able to keep the bigger man off you in the ring. So he's not going to be able to keep Jake Paul off him, because Jake Paul, I'd imagine, will walk through this.
Yeah.
And it'll just make a bit of a mockery. And then you've got people will be building up how great Tank is. The casuals are coming watch it and go, I think this is what'll happen. Well, he must be absolutely crap because Jake Paul's just walked right through him.
Exactly. And then they won't and they won't really understand the dynamics of, he's a midget. Do you know what I mean? It's just, he's a world champion, Hall of Fame boxer. Why isn't he beating this YouTuber? We can do anything kind of thing.
Because Tank is way better than him. That's not. I don't even know if Jake Paul will walk through it because it's going to be scripted. It will be scripted because I'd imagine from Tank's side, they don't want to be embarrassed to have him just walk through him and bully him, lean all over him, because that would be the tactics. You want to win, lean all over him, ragdoll him around the ring, just beat him up basically, and he's not going to want to be embarrassed. And then Jake Paul's not going to want to be embarrassed by getting clipped by a midget.
The fight's going to be a draw for sure. Like, I can't see it going any other way. And we're both in agreement. It is very bad for boxing, and it's not going to. The people that it's bringing in, they're not going to like boxing because boxing is one man against one man, all on the line. It's not teams. It's not old school, and it's the Wild West, how the fights get made, etc. So they ain't going to like it, these weird TikTok people. So they're bringing extra eyes on, but they're eyes that are probably going to slag boxing off and say it don't really understand. That's my view anyway.
That question you've got, is it good for boxing?
I can say no, not in any way, no way, no how. Terrible.
If Jake Paul wins and wins comfortably, where does he go from there? I mean, I'll tell you one positive bit that it's not going to happen, and Tank Davis sparkles him all over the canvas, That'll be fantastic. I'd love to see that. But I don't think
that's potential positive. He knocks him out.
Chris, the only positive is, the only reason I think, if you're boxing fans like us, the only reason to tune in now is to see Jake Paul be knocked out. But it's not going to happen fighting 130-pound men, is it?
Well, that's the tagline. The only reason to tune into this fight is to see Jake Paul get knocked out. Like and subscribe, guys. Like and subscribe.
Share the video to all of your friends.
Like it.